Hi, my name is Nandin with the Skoomunk YouTube channel. Today I will be talking about what is a private label Amazon seller to do when when war could potentially break out between the United States and China. With a lot of news lately about the tension between the U.S. and China, China taking a more aggressive stance, trying to take back Taiwan, and because China claims Taiwan is part of their land, and then the U.S. said they're willing to send troops and ships to defend Taiwan. So this tension is rising, especially with China sending more airplanes into Taiwan's airspace. So with that going on, that's according to the news. But the question is, how likely is that to happen? Uh, let's take a step back and think logically through this. So China is still the United States' largest trading partner, and it would be extremely costly, money-wise and manpower-wise, for China to invade Taiwan because Taiwan is an island. They've been preparing this for 50 plus years. And they have a lot of the population is very well prepared for it, and so it's very costly for China to invade Taiwan. So my assessment, after reading all the news and such, is that the odds are low, but it's not zero. So that seems like a insurance problem. But even if the odds are low, if it happens, it could be catastrophic for your as an Amazon seller who depends on the supply chain to China. So, what are we supposed to do as an Amazon seller? So the first thing many people say to do is diversify your supply chain. For example, you can diversify into Southeast Asia like Vietnam, but if war breaks out between China and the U.S., the Southeast Asian countries are probably involved too, and China's warships are not likely going to let those freight ships go from Vietnam to the U.S. safely. So that's a probably not a very good option in this case, in this scenario. The other is India, which is another option, and then there's a lot of talk about nearshoring to Mexico. The problem with all these diversification is like if you're paying a higher cost for that redundancy because China still has the best supply chain for manufacturing, and that cost of redundancy is not really a feasible option for small Amazon sellers like under $10 million in sales. So another option would be to duplicate the mode and keep it, give one to your Chinese manufacturing, and then keep one for yourself. So in case war breaks out, you can take that mode and start manufacturing elsewhere. That's a smaller investment than diversifying your supply chain. And then the another option is taking a step back and looking at the big picture. If war breaks out, there will be massive inflation. So if you look according to this article, the U.S. government, that there are 600 plus billion in trade between the U.S. and China, and if that comes to a grinding halt, that would bring massive economic depression for both. Something we haven't seen since World War II. And we're talking about okay, we're putting aside the nuclear threat and the massive mobilization of the economy here. So if war breaks out, there will be massive inflation. Manufacturing plants switching from consumer goods to war mobilization. We're talking about World War III, pretty much. It will be a very inflationary process on the cost of goods. So to hedge against inflation, the tried and true gold, it has a track record of over 5,000 years, is insurance against inflation. So that is an option. A newer option that's come on the scene in the last decade is Bitcoin. It has potential for higher return, but also higher volatility, but easier to transport. So in summary, there's limited option as far as small Amazon sellers because just the resources are limited. There's really three options: diversify your supply chain, copy your mode, buy hedge against inflation, whether it's gold or Bitcoin. So that's kind of my thought on this scenario planning with in case the U.S. and China breaks out in war. If you like this video, click like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be putting out content on how to better execute on your Amazon business.